I'm really excited to show you this blanket pattern. This is one of my favorite stitches, one of my favorite yarns. It's Bernat Blanket Extra. It is a 7-weight jumbo yarn. It's, as you can see, the chains are huge. It's very lightweight, super soft, very plushy. Something you could make a plushie or teddy bear or something like that with, but it makes a great blanket. It ends up being big and thick, but very lightweight. All right, for this pattern, I believe they call it the lemon peel stitch, you're going to chain any even number, which is a multiple of 2, plus one more chain at the end. And then you're going to come into the second chain, this one right here. I like to come in the back bump. It makes the first row look very much like the last row. With a single crochet, just pull it through, have your 2 loops. This is a 15mm hook. Now in that second chain, the back bump, you're going to make a double crochet, so just yarn over. There's that back bump. If you can't find it, turn it over. It's where this part of the chain comes through and it's in the back and it looks like a horizontal bar. So come on through, pull your yarn through and pull that loop up, even with the others. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Go in that next back bump with a single crochet. This is going to be your pattern all the way across. This is such an easy pattern. And it works up beautifully in this thicker yarn. Okay, we had a single, we had a double, we had a single, going back to a double, yarn over, go in that back bump. I'm making a very small sample size. Because I didn't have much yarn left over. And now back to a single in that back bump. And a double. And I will meet you when you get to the end of your row. I made mine lengthwise. I went vertically, but you can certainly go horizontally. If you did that, you want to make this probably 4 or 5 chains longer than you want your blanket wide. Same thing with length. If you're going vertically, make it a bit longer or a bit wider, because the pattern does pull it in just a bit. All right, I'll meet you when you're at the end of your row. All right, your last stitch will be a double crochet. You started with a single, you end with a double. I really like this aluminum hook. The last time I made a jumbo blanket, all I had was a plastic hook and it kept grabbing the yarn. It was hard to pull through. This is nice and smooth. I got a very inexpensive set on Amazon. I'll leave the link for you. All right, so at the end of your row, you have your double crochet, chain 1, and turn. Here's where you can start seeing. They look like little rose blooms, some kind of flower to me, or popcorn. I must be hungry. Okay, in the double crochet, make a single crochet. Make sure you're pulling your loops up even. They're even with each other so it doesn't pucker. Okay, that was a single in your double. Now here's your single. You know it's a single. It's kind of looks like a V. You go under that front and back loop there, right in there. So it's a single, so we want to put a double in it. Pull that loop up, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. There's your double. double in a single and a single in a double. And you'll just keep saying that to yourself. All right, there's your double. You know it's your double because it's really thick and puffy. So that gets a single. And there's your single. Kind of pull it there, it looks like a V. So the single gets a double. The double in the single and the single in the double. I'll stop now. There's your double. And make your single. That's what you're going to do all the way across. That is your whole pattern from now on. I'm just going to show you how to change color. So on one side, it will have this puffy, popcorny look. And on the other side, the row that looked puffy on this side will look flatter and pushed in. And on the opposite side, it gets puffy. So it ends up looking the same, or reversible. So continue. There's my single. It's a nice, easy pattern as well if you, oh, there's another fuzz. If you have to stop for a while and come back to it, it's easy to figure out which stitch you're on. That big puffy stitch is a double, so it gets a single. And continue on. I'm going to make just maybe another row or two. I don't have much yarn left over from my blanket. I do want to show you, I'm still just at the end of that row too. When you get to the end of your row, that's going to be a double. You're going to go into that last stitch, but also pull this from the previous row and pull through all of that. If you have trouble, use a smaller hook. That's going to help pull that in and not leave a gap at the end and keep it nice and straight. And a chain one. It's going to end up looking kind of braided on the end. This particular blanket, I did not make a border on it, didn't need it. This is how it looks at the bottom and the top. This is how it looks on the side, and it's just cushy, cushy, cushy. On my Christmas blanket, I did make a furry border with Bernat sheepy yarn. If you want to do that, it looks gorgeous. It feels so soft. Go to my, I think it's called a vintage look Christmas blanket. If you just hit my logo, the little pink logo there at I-crochet, it'll take you to my channel, and just go to my videos and just keep looking for the Christmas video, and it will show you. It's the same pattern basically, and it will show you how to make the furry border. But I did not. I just thought this was a nice, clean, neutral looking blanket. I love it. It's one of my favorites. All right, I'll be back when I'm going to change. All right, I'm going to pretend that this is the end of my first skein. I did one skein of the vintage white, and then two of the mushroom, two of the vintage white, and I ended with one of the, no, two more, sorry, of the mushroom, and I ended with one of the vintage white. 4 skeins of each, all total. But I'm going to pretend that I'm at the end, and you will have a little bit of yarn left over, but not enough to make another row. So I'm going to pull through. Oops, forgot. Come through and come behind here, pick up this loop. That's going to continue to give you that braided look. And your double. But what you're going to do now is cut, leave yourself a good tail, a few inches. And pull that tail all the way through. Kind of hold on to those loops. Pull it all the way through. Stick your hook back in there. And I like to take a smaller hook Instead of working just right over this, I'm going to weave it in and out of a few loops. If you want, you can weave it back again for a couple of loops, just in a half loop. You don't have to do this part. You can just weave it in later or work right over it. It's so easy for this to blend right in, and you're just going to be working right over it. It doesn't come out. I promise you it doesn't come out. Okay, so we're going to add our new color, our mushroom. This is super soft for some reason. The mushroom, I've worked with several colors of these. They're all incredibly soft. But for some reason, this mushroom is the softest of all. I can see making a teddy bear out of this. Oh, it's just so cushy. Okay, give yourself again a bit of a tail, a few inches, because we're going to work that in. Pull through those 2 loops. Make yourself a chain. Find your tail. Pull that tail through. Okay, and turn. Banded with a double crochet. I'm going to come in with a single crochet. Let's bring this over. I'm going to bring that tail in, bring it through, and again, pull your tail out. That's pretty much locked in there. As a matter of fact, if you have to pull this row out, you're going to have a little bit of trouble getting that out. You can, but it'll fight you a little bit. So when you come back around, you can weave over that with your next row. Sorry, someone was at the door. Okay. I'm going to leave that hanging out. You could just cut it now and it will be fine. It's not going anywhere, but you can also work over it in your next row. So that was my single crochet. Here's my single crochet from the row below. So I want to make that a double crochet. Make sure you're pulling that loop up nice and even with the others, and make your double crochet. I have my compression glove on. Been doing a lot of spring cleaning, so arthritis is kicking in, but this helps a lot. I can leave a link if you'd like. I did cut off the tops of the fingers because they were kind of tight, but it works out really well. My thumb is what really bothers me. All right, back to, we know this is a double crochet because it's really puffy, so that gets a single crochet. And the single crochet gets a double crochet. It's going to look like you have more loops because if you did what I did and you wove that through, it looks like you have more loops here, but just come on into that center hole there and they're just going to disappear. If a little bit of an end pops out, just clip it. Be sure you don't clip your stitches though. And a single and a double in the single. I promise I'm not going to sing again. You know that's a double because it's really, really puffy. So it gets a single. And the single gets a double. I just want to show you the end of the row one more time. This is just so easy. It's quick and easy. Here's the end of my row. And I want to make sure that I come around and catch the part of, there it is, it's in the back here. Catch that in there, it's part of the chain from before. It's going to make all the difference in how straight and just how nice and finished your edge looks. See how it just looks nice and thick and braided? If you think you have too much of a gap here, just come back in with a smaller hook. Kind of pull this over a little bit, pull this one over a little bit. Ta-da! It's magic. This yarn is very forgiving. If it starts to pull in too much, just pull out on it. Straightens it right up. Isn't that pretty? It's much prettier in person. Looks like a hot chocolate or coffee and cream. So you just start all over again, and this is all you do. Mine ended up with an initial chain of 73, which was an even number plus 1. It ended up being around 64 inches long, and with the amount of yarn I used, it was about 54 inches, somewhere in that vicinity, wide. So good size blanket. I had it on the queen size bed just as a throw to put over you when you're watching TV or reading. You're just gonna want to keep, oops, you're gonna want to keep pulling on it or just mushing it because it's so soft. You're gonna love it. So continue on. The last row is the same thing. We don't do anything different for the last row. It's going to end up looking like this first row. If you're doing the 2 skeins here, whenever you get close to the end of a skein, go ahead and cut your yarn at the end and start the next skein. Just make sure that each of your sections ends up being the same size. I think mine ended up being around 11.5 or 12 inches. I don't remember. And I wasn't going by rows. I was just going by skeins and then making sure the rest of mine were the same. You just pull it over like this. And when it's even, it's even. Okay, I hope you enjoy this. I think you're going to love this stitch. I think you're going to love this blanket. Like I said, it is one of my favorites. Doesn't that look like popcorn? It would look beautiful all in one color. It would look beautiful in this vintage white. It would make a great gift. I usually do gift my blankets and whatever else I make. I am actually keeping this one because I love it. It's very neutral. It can go in any of my rooms. All right, if you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. It helps my channel. If you have subscribed, thank you very much. And if you haven't, I would appreciate it if you'd subscribe. You can find all my free patterns that way. Also, I have all my written patterns are free on my website, www.i-crochet.com. There are no ads ever on my website. There are on YouTube, but you can't help that. If you have any issues with it, if you need some help, leave a question in the comments. If you like it, leave some feedback in the comments. I really appreciate all the feedback, and I check my email pretty frequently. Thanks a lot for watching.